Hey guys, what's up? It's Looney TNT. Today, I'm going to teach you how to build a group in Mythic Plus and give you guys the best opportunity to build up a 14 or 15 key for your Great Vault at the end of the week at a low eye level. So, I have some tricks and tips that I like to do personally that helps me along this journey. Currently, I'm on my Warrior, which my Warrior is a 230 eye level, and I'm having a hard time completing the mythic, 4 mythics to get a heroic eye level piece because I'm only 230. I get declined in zeros, and I feel a lot of players that are DPS have the same issue. If you're a tank or a healer, obviously you're going to get a way different experience, but as a DPS, it's tough. So I want to show you guys what I do when I'm building a key to make it as successful as possible. First thing I do, I look at the bosses that we're going to do. Now, this gets easier and easier as it goes on because you're going to realize, hey, I got a Plague Fall. I know where the group usually breaks up, blah, 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 you know, and it gets easier over time. So then you don't even have to go through this process. But I'm going to go through this process with you. Maybe you're newer to the game, maybe coming back, don't know the dungeon. All right, so I'm going to queue up for a Plague Fall. I'm going to create a Plague Fall 4 group, and I want to maximize the efficiency of the group, and it will take a little bit of time, but that's okay. I'm not worried about that. This is my key. I'm not going to get kicked. I can be a little bit picky. So when I look at Plague Fall, the first thing I look at is I look at the first boss. The first boss is usually a pug killer. If you wipe on this first boss, usually everybody leaves. And this boss, usually what people try to do is they try to burn them down and they CC the ads, right? They don't necessarily switch to the ads, kill the ads, and go back into the boss. What typically happens with pug groups is they expect you to be able to just CC and burn. So, what am I going to be looking for, and what classes have the ability to CC these two big ads when they're coming in from the side? We have Ring of Peace. We have, I believe is it Paralysis or Paralyzed, something like that. The monk ability to stun them. So there's a monk. Monks have 2 abilities, so maybe we're looking for a monk. We have Frost Trap. Frost Trap is definitely a great thing. Look for Hunter. Mages have their AoE freeze. That's another thing. So we already have some classes that we can already look for that we want in the group, right? So that said, all right, let's go ahead and let's just start the group here. And I'm not necessarily going to be inviting players. What I'm going to be looking for is I'm going to be looking for players, and we're going to discuss what I'm looking for to help out the dungeon so you guys can get the best opportunity to clear it. Alright, Plague Fall 4. I don't need to check any of this stuff. This stuff doesn't matter to me, okay? You can do a description and all that other fun stuff, but I'm not looking for that. I just want to start the group, and I want to see what we're getting, okay? So, here comes the waiting game. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be waiting for players to queue in. Don't be in a rush. If you're in a rush, you're going to take a player that might completely kill your group. We already talked about what we're going to kind of look for, but here's the trick. The first person that you invite is usually the most important, because when you invite someone, you start filling up the group, people see that it's going to be filled up. Now look at the options here. Obviously, a 252 is a pretty good option, but what I'm looking for is I'm looking for this little score. His score is a 1261. That means he's done quite a bit of Mythic Plus, but is also his score for a Plague Fall is a 90. So he's done a Plague Fall 4, and that's the one what we're going to be going into. So being a high eye level and having a Mythic Plus rating that is very high, I would probably invite him as the second DPS in my group and then hold off for the third. So giving that example, a 240 for example. Well, actually, let's go up to these guys. These guys come in a pair. They're lower eye level, and they both don't have rating. That's a decline. We're not going to take that guy, right? But let's look at this Demon Hunter. It's a 240 eye level. That's pretty good for a 4. That's reasonable. But we're not going to take something that low. The reason we're not going to take something that low is because this is our key. And if it gets depleted or if it gets messed up, these players don't care. It only affects me. So we're going to try to make this group as best as possible. And if we're looking for a Demon Hunter, we're not going to look for a 240 Demon Hunter with 0 rating. Now this guy's interesting because he's done a Plaguefall 5. And he also has a 466 Mythic Plus rating. He also brings a Lust. Now if this guy was 245, I would definitely try to invite him. Here's a great example too. All right. He's from Ragnaros. That's an auto decline. Trust me. That's the best advice that I probably give on this video. If they're from Ragnaros, don't take them. No offense to those dudes. It's just they're an auto decline. I will save you many keys if you just follow that advice. All right. So we got a tank here. 230. 265 rating. We're not going to invite him, even if he wasn't from Ragnaros. We want a tank, and tanks are hard to find, but tanks are also very important. And I don't know what this guy has done in the past, so I'm not going to risk my key for him building up his mythic rating. It's just not something I want to do. So, you guys see how picky I am? Now, let's man, I don't want to waste these guys' time for inviting them. But let's say I invited this guy, okay? I clicked invite, and now we have 2 DPS. The reason the first DPS is important is because now people are seeing the group getting filled. And they're like, hey, there's one spot for DPS, let's get in there. What I do is if I can't find a tank or a healer, I will invite 1 DPS that is a decent DPS. That 252 Warlock would have been a perfect one because I know that he can do a little bit of damage, and I also have room for a really good DPS. The third DPS that I usually invite, I'm looking for whether it's a Lust or whether it's an ability to help the boss or whatever it is, but I'm also looking for eye level. I typically want that third DPS to be better than the second DPS. And this is all blind, right? We don't know how they're going to perform in the dungeon. It's just kind of, you know, hey, let's look at rating. Let's look at eye level. But I typically want the third DPS to be better than the second. Now, how do I make that happen? I will invite a second DPS. And then I will not invite a third DPS unless it's something amazing until I get a tank or a healer. Now, if you get a tank or a healer, all of a sudden the options start to become way better. Higher eye level, higher rating, because they see that the group is getting filled and that it already has a tank or a healer and that it will already speed up the process. So, once I get a tank, if I can get a tank, healer, 2 DPS, that third DPS, that is going to be a big DPS. That's going to be, I'm going to get cream of the crop. I'm going to get first pick. It's going to be awesome because they already see that that group is almost filled. And that is another reason, if you are a eye level character and you see a group that has a tank healer and 2 DPS, they're like, oh, they need one more. Well, they have a chance to get the very best. So a lot of times, even if you're a 255, there might be a 257 or even a 260 that is in the queue, and that is why you're probably getting declined. So, that said, I hope these little tips helped you guys out. That is how I run them. I will give you guys one more example before we end the video. Let's go on my shaman. I'm not just here to say things and that I haven't done. I don't want to make a guide that I'm like, yeah, this is just the way it is. You know, you guys do that and it works, okay? I want to show you guys what I did with my shaman and a sneak peek for my subscribers, you know, for Tuesday's loot video. My shaman is only 233 eye level. He is not a high eye level. He is a very low eye level. He was getting declined to everything. But let's look at his key. His key that he has right now is a 13 the other side. I built my key up last night to a 13. I will continue to do work on this key tonight. Unfortunately, being this low on eye level, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for me to push, but I want to show you guys my rating here. I completed a 12 last night for the Plague Fall. We timed it. We plus 2'd Theater of Pain. And then this is pretty much how I built up the key, right? We just went as we had some lower keys and we built it all the way up. I practice what I preach, and it's a thing that I've been doing for a really long time, and it's something that works. So I'm not just giving you guys information that is not true. I've done it, and I'll show you guys again. 233. I'm 233 eye level, and I've completed all the way up to, I built my key all the way up to a 13 at this low. So it can be done. All this was pugged. I didn't group with any friends. I didn't do anything like that. This was all the system that I showed you guys is a system that I carry on to build up my keys. So that said, like, favorite, share, subscribe, do what you guys need to do. If we can get 10 likes on this video, it will really help me out. So if you guys can hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, do all that fun stuff. If you guys made it to this far, you guys are the MVP of the video, so make sure you guys put MVP in the comments. And like always, I'll talk with you guys again soon.